And here we have it, first YouTube video going live. Now, if you've never seen me on social media before, I am ThatGirlBiker. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump to a quick intro and then we shall crack on. So here we go, let's have it. So this is almost a full lap of the Isle of Man. Now it was last year, so you know my memory will fail me a little bit. So basically I got invited to go to the Manx GP last year. This was to spanner for a team that was over there. So I'm not going to ramble on throughout the whole video because as much as I can talk for England, I don't think you actually want to listen to me for the next 27 minutes. So I'll just give a bit of a spiel as to what I did over there and then I'll let you enjoy the video in peace. So Manx GP 2024, what an experience. Oh, it was the craziest thing I think I've experienced in the bike world. I've done like your BSB backstage, if you want to call it, VIP hospitality and all that, but these guys at the Manx, it was just an absolute different level. From my observation, I think to become a good road racer, you've got to detach your brain, actually. I think that's the only way that you can send it full speed around the island, because I thought there'd be a lot more barriers, a lot more, I don't know, like safety, and there wasn't. They do a bit of a staggered start and then you just get your head down and pray to the gods, I suppose, and just go as fast as you can. But these guys, they just spend an absolute fortune to go out there. They really do. Like, you've got the cost of the bike, you've got the cost of getting the team out there, spare parts, food, drinks, fuel, tyres. It's just a crazy amount of money that they spend. And especially if the weather was like it was last year, the cost per lap must be absolutely insane. So if you think you spent all that money, and I'm not just talking like 5-10 grand, the tens of thousands of pounds, and then you get to do 4 laps because it's been rained off. Jesus. I think this day that I filmed this at, I went out on a little Benelli TNT, which is actually what has made me buy another Benelli, because I just borrowed this from one of the lads that were there. This day was the only dry, sunny day that we had whilst we were there. Obviously, day one, you're setting up, you're getting your awnings out, you're getting all the kit out, you're getting the bikes out, everything's set up looking all fancy. And then the heavens just opened and it just felt like it was absolutely relentless. I had to go to Tesco and buy some wellies because I just took trainers like an absolute tool. And yeah, by the end of the Manx, it was just a bog. The field that you're on was just, it was like coming up to my wellies, top of my wellies. I mean, I am very short, so in reality it was probably only about a centimetre of mud. However, it was messy. So this dry day, I think it was either they'd done the race in the evening or later on, so we had the sort of daytime free once we'd prepped the bikes. So look at me getting done there by a bike because I'm on a little baby 125. So we took the Benellis, and there's a Grom there as well. We took them, thought we'd just do a lap just so I could experience it. I mean, I definitely feel like it would have been a lot better experiencing it on my bike, the S1000, but you know, needs must and all that. I wasn't about to cart my bike over there just to have one day of sunshine I can go out on. I think the mountain was shut when we went up. It might have been open on the way back, but I'm sure it was shut. But we went up to the Victory Cafe, which was, it was amazing. It had so much like history and memorabilia in it, and the food was absolutely amazing. So if you are going over there, I do highly recommend that you pop in to the Victory, either way, that one. Talking about food, I don't think I actually had a bad meal while I was over there. I think every restaurant or pub or cafe that we went in, the food was just out of this world. If you're into seafood, definitely recommend trying a Queenie's. They were so good. And it's not like over here when you order scallops and you get 2 or 3, like you get a bowl full. The food at the actual site was really good as well. That surprised me. But that was brilliant as well. So where you're camping, where the pitting, where the start line is, they put up tents. They have like a little food area with different food. They have a stage that has bands on an evening. They do obviously talks with some of the riders. That was awesome. That was such a great experience, especially on an evening. Even if it was raining, people were going up to like the beer tent and having a bit of a drink. And obviously you got some of the bigger names that are just mingling around. I mean, we all know Michael Dunlop doesn't like really talking to people, which is absolutely fair play. Like, he goes there to ride, he's not going there to make friends. So I would be respectful of that and just don't approach people if they're clearly submitting signs that they don't want to be approached. But some of them, you know, they are quite happy to have a chat with you and spend a bit of time with you. Obviously buy them a drink, do whatever you need to do. I'm not that familiar with some of the bigger road races, the names and things like that, so, or shall I say, I know the names, I don't know what they look like under the helmet, so it was quite interesting when people were like, oh my god, did you see who that was? And I was like, no, just didn't recognise them. But that's me down to a T, really, I would say. So the day-to-day running of the actual race, so the team that I was with, they were submitted into 2 classes. I think there was one day that they were racing both bikes, so that was a bit chaotic. But I remember one day, I think there was an emergency in the actual town centre itself, so they had to postpone the start of the race for the ambulances to get down to see to a member of the public that was having a bit of an incident. So they postponed it for that, and then they postponed it for rain. The rain didn't happen, but they postponed it again because I think there was a burst pipe in the town. And it's just wild that all of these things affected the race that wouldn't normally affect it, you know, if you were at a track side. And if you're up waiting at the start line and all these postpones are happening, you're just waiting. You're like, I did a few sandwich runs down to the van and stuff like that, picked up a few bits to eat, but you are just waiting. Waiting, sleeping and eating. Which is fine, obviously, it's nice to chill, but you're also there to watch the racing or help alongside the racing, so yeah, it's not ideal. I also went to the motor museum, which was pretty cool. Obviously, they do bikes, but they have all sorts of other things. I think there was some sort of Russian space thingy-majiggy that was there, and some cars, and a lot of bikes. And the bikes, it was showing you, you know, over the years how the bikes have changed and things like that. They also had a few of the old leathers, the one pieces that some of the racers had worn. That was interesting. Now, if you're not fortunate enough to get asked over by a team to support, you can obviously just go over as a member of public. You can also go over to Marshall. They were always screaming out for marshals whilst I was there, and I was debating going to Marshall this year. It is obviously voluntary. The feedback after speaking to some of the marshals was that it was really good. The days were so long though, they were like doing like 12-hour days, because once they're at their post, they're there all day. But they said like the local residents were really good at looking out for them and, you know, feeding them, letting them use their amenities, things like that, which that's just reflective of the community over there. Like, the people are so nice, so nice. Everyone's willing to help, get stuck in, and just so polite, especially compared to people over here now. But that was lovely. So I'd recommend marshalling if you want to go over and be a bit more, you know, sort of hands-on experience as opposed to just watching. I mean, you do get to watch, but obviously you're a bit closer to the action. But I mean, maybe don't marshal if you're squeamish, you know, for obvious reasons. But yeah, So I'm about done. I shall leave you in peace. We've got through the town now. See if you can figure out on the map where I am, because I sure as hell do not know where I am at this point. I'm going to say heading towards the mountain. We'll stick with that. If you've made it this far, you know, I really appreciate it, and congratulations listening to me droning on for the last 10 minutes. All the usual rubbish that we have to add on to these videos, you know, like, subscribe, share, comment. I would be interested to hear some feedback on how you found a video today. Obviously, it is my first ever YouTube video, so please be nice. So yeah, let me know what you think, and the content going forward is going to be, I would say, a lot more interesting. I'll put my jigsaw rebuild. I did a rebuild for track, so I'll put that up. I'm currently doing a Benelli rebuild, so that'll be up. Lots of rides out, lots of meets, lots of events and things that I've been to, going to. You know, it's really exciting stuff, and that's why I want to share it with such a wider audience, because everyone that I speak to is super interested in what I do, because I'm always up to something. So yeah, please subscribe, and I look forward to you returning for the next video. Goodbye.